I will introduce the episode right now.
Wait, I'm not ready.
No.
Eh.
Nice one, Daniel. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Creature Club, the D&D monster talkie podcast extravaganza time where we talk about the monster, any history of the monster in the real world and in universe, and we talk through the monster, go through the stat block, and just see how we'll use it. I am one of your hosts, Mikey, and with me today, as most of the time, as per usual, is Daniel.
Hello.
And Mr. Tim.
Hello.
Mr. Tim is different than Tim. He has a silly voice.
Mr. Tim is the clone of Tim that's slightly malfunctioning.
You don't think no.
Kind of has like a melting Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of voice.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, like Arnie, sort of when he gets exposed to the surface of Mars, sort of.
Yes.
That's me. That's me, everyone.
Today in the show, we are continuing on with our Demons anthology series. That's not a real way to put it.
I mean, it's pretty accurate, to be honest.
We're still going with it. We want to get through it, as I always say. But today, we are doing the Nalfeshnee. And the Nalfeshnee, guys, what does this guy look like for our viewers at home? Our listeners at home. We don't have viewers. They don't really...
And if we had viewers, we wouldn't have to describe what it looked like.
Yeah, that's true. Good one, Daniel.
We do share some pictures of what they look like occasionally on Twitter. So if people are viewing the Twitter at Creature Club Pod...
Only if it's hilarious, but there's actually
only when it's... Yeah.
There's a really funny one, so I might actually do it this time as well.
Yeah.
It's good. As a rule of thumb, we'll share like something from like either... OD&D or AD&D or something like that, like real old school art, because it's sort of it's not bad. It's still like functional. It's just a little, it just always feels slightly off. Like it's like it's as if it always feels like whenever you look at one of those pieces of art, it's always as if like. Well, the ones that we share anyway, it's always as if you've told them you're going to take a picture and then you wait too long.
Yeah. Either too long or you wait too long,
time,
or you give it enough time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But this boy looks like a kind of humanoid boar with cloven hooves and just several sets of tusks just coming out of his face and chin, and he has kind of crow or raven wings out his back, which look far too small for him. Oh, and he has a tail. I didn't notice that before.
He does. He has kind of a rat tail.
Yeah.
That's my favorite monster designs are the ones that are the really fat looking guys, but they have tiny wings that they can somehow use.
Yep. So if we want to dive straight into what I researched for the real world stuff, I can absolutely do that. So
all right,
I have a little bit of a theory as to why this guy looks like he does. So have you guys heard, and I bet yous have, of the turn of phrase, when pigs can fly?
Yes.
I think that this guy was basically designed with that in mind. Like, he is this pig guy with tiny little wings, but he can still fly. It's like, I looked into the phrase, and it's apparently doesn't have any specific origin, but it's used as an adinaton, which is a word which is to express something as impossible. And this guy, being from the abyss, is basically an impossibility, essentially. And in doing so, I found another couple of cool antonins. What did I call them again? Adinatons, where you might be able to come up with some even cool demons for yourself. So there's the pigs can fly, which is in English. There's a French one. I won't read the actual original language. I'll just read the translations that I found because I can't speak many of the languages. The French have when hens grow teeth, which makes me think of the vrock, which we'll get to pretty soon.
Oh, yeah. I think I've heard that one before, actually.
In Hebrew, there is when hair grows on the palm of my hand, which you could use as like a sign of an oncoming possession or something, which would be kind of cool.
Or some sort of anti-masturbating kind of propaganda. I don't know.
Yep.
You can edit that part out.
I might edit it in twice now.
Yeah. I think that's that's definitely gonna happen. Where I say edit that out, and then it just doesn't get edited out. Or some sort of anti-masturbating kind of propaganda. I don't know.
Yep. Yeah. The next one is a Russian one, which is when crawfish whistles on the mountain, which is just a very bizarre one.
Yeah.
That's a great image, yeah.
Crawfish whistling on a mountain. Turkish, when fish climb poplar trees, which is not too bad. Not too bad.
Very, very specific that you would pick a type of tree.
You
Just say when fish climb trees, and it would be a little neater. But what do I know?
Yeah, they can, an oak tree's fine, but a poplar tree, don't.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
Absolutely
Forget about
ridiculous.
It's probably like a case that like the cadence or the like there's like a rhyme if you refer to a poplar tree is probably the reason it's done.
Yeah, that's probably what a lot of these kind of things. Although when pigs can fly is not exactly poetic.
No, it's not, but it suits the English tongue.
That's when pigs fly is my my mom's favorite image because she has a lot of around the house like flying pigs because she feels like she wants to promote the thing that the impossible is possible. Like pigs can get into your mindset that pigs can fly because it will help you in life and to help you think you can do great things.
Don't let those people who throw adinatons at you get you down.
Yes.
I'm going to keep pronouncing it and mispronouncing it. So the next one is a Hungarian one, which is when it's snowing red, which I think would be a really cool way to like herald the coming of some demonic force. Or that it just does that some places in the abyss, which might be cool. There is also a Finnish one that is when flagpoles blossom, which is nice.
Oh,
Sounds pretty
nice.
Finnish to me.
Those Finns, they're crazy. Shout out to our Finnish listeners.
Yeah, I meant that because it sounds finished, and Finnish sounds like finished. You can edit that out.
The next one is a Dutch one, which is when Easter and Pentecost are the same day. And I'm not very sure, but I think Easter and Pentecost are specifically like, I think it's the first and fourth Sunday of, is it April? Or I'm not sure. But there is a specific time when Easter and Pentecost are on the calendar. And basically, for that to happen would just be absolutely ridiculous.
I can't believe you.
I don't believe it. And then
I
the
will
last
not
one
believe you.
the last one that I found was a Malaysian one that was when cats grow horns. So a lot of these seem pretty devilish or could be used in like demonic ways, which I thought was super super cool when I found these.
Yeah, very
Man.
very
And
yeah, that is cool.
one of my favorite instances that I remember from my childhood of hearing the phrase "when pigs can fly" was in an episode of Jackie Chan's Animated Adventures. I looked it up and I made sure it was a real thing. In season 3, episode 6, the episode titled "When Pigs Fly," they are trying to collect these animals that are related to the zodiac that have these specific powers. And at the start of the episode, he captures a rooster that flies, and when it touches things, it can make them levitate. And then later in the episode, he finds a pig that shoots lasers out of its eyes. And so this rooster working with this pig, they fly through the city.
Wait. Wait, you can't just say working with
The
like
chicken,
that.
the rooster escapes and grabs onto the pig's back, and they start flying and chasing Jackie Chan through the streets. And as a small cutaway, there's a man kneeling down on one knee, presenting an engagement ring to this woman, and she says, I will marry you when pigs can fly. And then you see the pig flying in the background, shooting lasers at Jackie Chan. And she jumps into his arms. she jumps into his arms. And then he just grins like an idiot because he's like, oh, it happened. Cool, we're getting married.
I would absolutely love it if she said, I'll marry you when pigs fly and shoot laser beams out of their eyes while chasing down Jackie Chan. Uh-oh.
Wait, is Jackie Chan in Texas now? I'm so confused.
No, it was I can't remember. It might have been in Arkansas or somewhere. They actually named the specific city that they went to. Don't you start.
Dude, do we have to all watch Jackie Chan Adventures again just for like D&D?
Because we might catch some D&D references in there.
Yeah,
Some
or just from
useful-
inspiration. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope people can realize that there's kind of like a tree of inspiration that goes on where you guys get your inspiration from Creature Club, and then Creature Club get their inspiration from Jackie Chan Adventures.
Jackie Chan animated adventures exclusively.
Animated Adventures, yeah. And
We don't believe in other forms of medium in this household.
Yes. And whatever Jackie Chan gets his inspiration from, we'll figure out.
So beyond the specific phrase "when pigs can fly," I looked into maybe finding a demon that had these exact bits and bobs to them.
Okay.
Like the like pig-like torso and the crow wings, and I couldn't find anything. But I found two specific examples of things that kind of reflected what the Nalfeshnee was about. There was, in Indonesian mythology, there's the babi ngepe. They will do this incantation that involves them wearing this black cloak and lighting a candle in a bowl. And as the sun sets, they'll don this robe and they will turn into this, they'll turn into a boar. And they will run around their local town and they will bump into things and knock things over and smash things in rich people's houses. And when they get back to their place, they will turn back into themselves with this gown on, and they will have gathered all of what they kind of bumped into and smacked and whatever was lost from the other places. And so in the Javanese countries, in Indonesia, they have this tradition of, well, back in the day they had the tradition of killing any boar who came into town, and it's kind of presumed that it was to prevent these boars from kind of stealing their food or anything like that, but they spread this idea that it was them that would steal all of this gold and stuff, and that was kind of cool. And it's like pre-Islam and like pre-Hindu, and it's an ancient traditional mythology, which I thought was really, really cool.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Transform themselves into this demon and steal stuff just for their own wealth. Transform and roll out. That's the reference you were making, right?
Yeah.
Sure. That's very cool, Tim. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing us
as always,
what you have researched.
Detective Tim on the job.
Yeah.
One smaller bit. There was the crow wings. All I could find was the demon Malthus, who was a crow demon, who is like, he's the great prince of the hell under Satan, and his thing is he owns like 40 legions, and he builds houses and high towers and destroys things, which I thought was kind of relevant for what we're going to learn about the Nalfeshnee pretty soon. And that is all of my ridiculousness for the start of this episode.
It ain't ridiculous, man. It's good stuff.
Oh,
thank you, Tim.
You're welcome.
All right, but what about D&D, guys? What about
D&D, Mikey?
Yeah, what about this guy in the world of the tabletop role-playing game Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition?
Dunda.
Well, I'll tell you. I'll read it right now. This is what it says in the book. I'm sorry. I did a very, here's what it says in the book. Listen, won't you? No.
Gather round, children. Let me tell you a tale.
All right, cool. The Nalfeshnee. The Nalfeshnee is one of the most grotesque demons. A corpulent mockery of ape and boar standing twice the height of a human, with feathered wings that seem too small for its bloated body. These brutish features conceal a remarkable intelligence and cunning. Nalfeshnees are devastating in combat, using their wings to soar above the front ranks and reach vulnerable adversaries that can be dispatched with little effort. From the thick of battle, they telepathically bellow commands to lesser demons, even as they inspire a sense of dread that forces their foes to scatter and run. Nalfeshnees feed on hatred and despair, but they crave humanoid flesh above all else. They keep their larders filled with humanoids abducted from the material plane, then eat those creatures alive during elaborate feasts, thinking of themselves as refined and cultured Nalfeshnees employed stained and rusted cutlery when they dine. That is pretty
metal.
Pretty metal, but pretty terrifying stuff, you know?
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to be caught by one of these guys.
Just this absolutely brutish, like, greed-filled, awful creature. And they're fantastic.
They're eating her.
Then they're gonna eat
me.
Oh my god.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
If you wanna put that clip in, that'd be good.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, unless it's gonna mean that we get arrested, in which case don't. Yeah, that's what it says there. It's bad news.
Mm-hmm.
It is. It is very bad news. I skipped through the how long he's been around. Is that right? Do we know?
We can jump through it nice and quick. So, like the other demons listed here, the Nalfeshnee began life as a Type 4 demon. There was 2 other types of Type 4 demon listed alongside it originally, but all of the art they used depicted the Nalfeshnee, and so by the time they rolled around to 2nd edition, they just said that it was the Nalfeshnee. I think because at that stage, people were used to it and used to using it as their Type 4 demon, so they didn't see the point in keeping the others.
Yeah.
They first appear in Eldritch Wizardry, which is a book we are well acquainted with at this stage. It introduces a lot of things we take for granted in the game of Dungeons and Dragons, such as demons and the druid class. So, pretty important book overall. And then it does appear again in the first ever monster manual. And in that, it is described as, it says here, some Type 4 demons have names, and these can be spoken with if the conjuring party knows the proper one to say. This will make it 90% certain, because they loved percentage chances in earlier editions of the game. The demon will listen to offers of great rewards for some small service. These demons are also fond of human flesh and blood. So even in the first edition of the game, the idea that they were in some way more interested than other creatures in eating humankind was sort of established.
They wanted to nom you real good.
Yes.
Were there any variations in later editions? Any cool stuff?
There wasn't any variations in terms of modifications, but there is an interesting character in particular. There's a book called Uncaged Faces of Sigil. Sigil, of course, being the city in the middle of the Outlands, the infinite desert that connects all the plains. Sigil is kind of like the city at the sort of center of the axis of all worlds. So it's called the City of Doors, and it's ruled by a woman called the Lady of Pain, who's sort of a mysterious figure, and no one knows whether the city is her prison or her creation.
Cool. That's
it's
awesome.
I would recommend. There's loads of material on Sigil if you ever want to read up on it. It's a very interesting, cool setting.
Yes, I've did a little bit of reading on it before for some reason, but it seemed very cool.
No, it's very cool, and it is still in 5th edition in the Dungeon Master's Guide when it talks about the planes. Outlands and Sigil both make minor appearances, just enough to give you an idea. But if you are interested in it, I would say absolutely look it up. There is so many books on this thing. You could spend a lifetime reading them. But the one we're interested in particularly is Uncaged Faces of Sigil, which is just a book that introduces a bunch of interesting characters to the setting and gives a bit of context for how the city works. And the character in particular we're looking at is a character called Judge Gabberslug, who is a Nalfeshnee. Judge Gabberslug is a really cool character. So it's he oversees a courthouse called the Court of Woe, which is located in the Lower Ward.
Contemplate this in the Court of Woe.
Of Woe. Crucify him. Squatting in Ragpicker Square, just a few minutes' walk from the mortuary, the Court of Woe seems a stately place with marble steps, pillars, and archways to rival that of the city court itself. Chant on the street says the structure is made not from marble, but the bones of those ground from Burks who've been sent there. That's just talk of blubbers, though. Still, the mercy killers hate the place, sneering that it's a perversion of justice. They'd gladly clean it out, if only they could get in. See, the Court of Woe is an empty shell with nothing inside its wall but polished tile floor. Only dustmen or Burks named in a special writ of transfer from the governors at the city court see anything different. Carrying such a document through the archway at the top of the steps activates a portal, whisking the accused and any co-defendants or character witnesses named in the writ to the real Court of Woe, a fortress in the negative energy plane. Dustmen make the trip just by being faction members.
My goodness.
So basically, it's like sort of a demi-plane prison hidden inside the city, and it describes how Gabberslug sits on a big throne of bones, constantly eating abyssal slugs from a bag of holding, and just like boredly passing judgment on all these people brought before him. So it's a very, very cool character, sort of like this like chaotic demon appointed a position of like lawful authority in this massive city. So yeah, very, very cool, very interesting. I like it as a sort of there's a really cool piece of art in the book of Gabberslug on their throne with like the sort of little bowl of slugs nearby for him to pick out.
Fascinating.
So I guess this is an early dessert time inspiration sparker is Judge Gabberslug.
Oh yeah, but I'm only mentioning it as a kind of example from the thing. And there's a short character sheet for his or a monster sheet, and there's a map of his court in case you want to fight him. So yeah, lots of stuff there. But yeah, so that is from Uncaged Faces of Sigil. If anyone wants to check it out, I would recommend it. It's pretty cool.
Great.
Yeah.
Let's hop on to the block. Let's walk down the block of Meat and Potatoes Town, of Dinner Town. Oh, we're back to a town. Great. That's
you brought that full circle. I'm very impressed.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That was really good.
Cool. Let's play that music. Nalfeshnee, large fiend, demon, chaotic evil, armor class 18, and that's natural armor. Hit points 184, or 16 d10s plus 96. He has a speed of 20 on his feet and a fly speed of 30 with his tiny little wings. Strength 21, Dex 10, Constitution 22, Intelligence 19, Wisdom 12, Charisma 15. Yeah,
Nice.
Not too bad. You kind of get it.
Yeah, man, he's tough. He's smart.
Yeah,
He's not fast.
He's not fast.
You're not fast. You're too slow. Saving throws. Constitution plus 11, Intelligence plus 9, Wisdom plus 6, Charisma plus 7. Damage resistances: cold, fire, lightning, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical weapons. If you guys listen to another demon episode, that's commonplace. Standard issue, as well as the damage immunities, poison, and the condition immunities, poisoned. Just regular stuff. But senses: true sight, 120 feet, and past perception 11. So true sight. So
True
far,
sight, like the Marilith and the Garistro or Balgura.
Glabretsu.
Balor.
And the what's his face? I thought the. Oh, sorry. That Balgura has blind sight. Apologies, because he has the ability to cast darkness on himself.
Yeah. So Glabretsu, Balor, Marilith, and this guy. And speaks Abyssal, has telepathy, 120 feet, and challenge rating of 13, and that's 10,000 experience points that you can use, whatever way you want.
Nice round number. That's lovely.
Yeah, so you don't got to do all that math.
Yeah, man. Just put a 1 in front of all the other numbers. You're good.
Yeah, he's got one ability, one feat.
That's 100 hundreds.
That is
What?
that's how numbers works, Tim.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm easy to blow away.
Yeah, Tim's very small. He like weighs as much as a leaf. You can just
I thought this was Mr. Tim, the sort of malfunctioning clown.
Mr. Tim. Mr. Tim.
Yep, that's me.
Sorry, I lost my place. Magic resistance.
Yeah.
The Nalfeshnee has advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects. So that's for all
Fun
the
fact about that little magic resistance. I gave a glance across every single one of them, and that is only granted to monsters of challenge rating 5 or 6 or higher, with the exception of the Quasit. So basically, any rules that they set up for monsters in this, they always have an exception. Like the Cold Fire Lightning is granted to creatures of challenge rating 1 or higher, with the exception of the Shadow Demon, who gets a different weird set. But we'll get around to him. I just looked into it because I was looking for something to do, and I compared notes on each of them.
When do you guys want to take the actions block? When do you guys want to do that?
Yeah,
do
sure.
You want to alternate?
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I did a lot of talking about the judge, so that only seems fair.
Yeah.
Will I go first?
Sure.
Okay. Multi-attack. The Nalfeshnee uses Horror Nimbus if it can, and then makes 3 attacks, 1 with its bite and 2 with its claws.
Ooh. Bite. Melee weapon attack. +10 to hit. Reach 5 foot. 1 target. Hit 32 or 5d10 +5. Piercing damage.
Claw. Melee weapon attack. +10 to hit. That's good, man. Reach 10 feet, so a little longer. 1 target. Hit 3d6 +5 on an average of 15 slashing damage.
And now, the special power. Horror Nimbus. I thought Nimbus was a cute cat.
Me too.
Yeah.
Or the cloud that Goku rides on in Dragon Ball.
Oh yeah,
That's
Nimbus,
true.
the Nimbus. Or Harry Potter's...
Broom and Harry Potter, yeah.
Yeah, his broom, the Nimbus 2000.
Oh yeah, that's
Anyway.
true.
Or a type
Continue.
of cloud. Yeah. Horror Nimbus. Recharge 5 to 6. The Nalfeshnee magically emits scintillating multicolored light. Each creature within 15 feet of the Nalfeshnee that can see the light must succeed on a DC 15 Wisdom saving throw or be frightened for 1 minute. A creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself on a success. If a creature's saving throw is successful, or the effect ends for it, the creature is immune to the Nalfeshnee's Horror Nimbus for the next 24 hours. A little bit of frighten. You am doing me a frighten. Mm-hmm.
Teleport. The Nalfeshnee magically teleports along with any equipment it is carrying or wearing up to 120 feet to an unoccupied space it can see, which we've seen before on a lot of the sort of more powerful demons. Just kind of I'm leaving, or I'm getting closer.
Mm-hmm.
So that multi-attack is kind of worded interestingly, I'll say. Because it's one of the first times it's said, it says the Nalfeshnee uses Horror Nimbus if it can. Then it makes 3 attacks. 1 with its bite and 2 with its claws. So that means that if you want to attack with like a multi-attack, which is like the optimal way of doing it, if you are, thinking about the block and the way of doing it, that means you got to do Horror Nimbus pretty much at the start when you fight him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you get a recharge, the second you get it, you use it again.
Use it immediately. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting point there, Mikey. Yeah. Like, even if it doesn't make sense because everyone's already resisted, it still does it.
Yeah.
But also on that note, just very quickly, the Horror Nimbus is creatures, so it includes the Nalfeshnee's allies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So the Nalfeshnee's allies can't get closer to it on their turns. So they can't support it if they are affected by this.
That could be in reference to its, like, fierceness on the battlefield. It's excuse me. That could be a reference to its...
The battlefield!
When you're trying to organize your documents on your laptop. Battlefield.
I shall meet you in the battlefield. I'm sorry, Tim. This is like the lowest brow humor of like when someone says something wrong. You're just like, oh, you said it wrong.
Yeah. But that's a good reference to its effectiveness on the battlefield.
Yeah.
It's devastating in combat, but it also uses its telepathy to speak to its friends. So most of the time you can use, or your DM will typically allow you to use, like you can talk to your friends as kind of a free action within a pretty reasonable amount of time. He probably does that to speak to his friends and be like, "Don't be afraid of me, idiots! Fight them!" You know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Okay. Yeah, but also like the horror nimbus doesn't take away from you. You still get 3 attacks anyway. Other than that, so if you do use it at the start, then whatever. And if you can't use it, you still have 3 attacks, and it seems to just be a frightening thing. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a go-to.
Yeah,
that's
that's
really it.
literally all it does.
Yeah. It's interesting that it's on on the multi attack. Like it's not really much of an attack. You don't really see one of those kind of abilities in the attack, but maybe because it's just a frightening thing, because it's a frightening thing, it's not really. They knew that you probably wouldn't use it that much because whatever, he's frightening. With like instead of using the multi attack slot, he would frighten. That doesn't seem too good. But if they put it into the multi attack, it's kind of adding to the attack, the stuff he can do. But with that being said, maybe he could have made that into a feat somehow. But it's like a strong kind of frighten. I don't know. It's just kind of a strange one to me. But other than that, it seems to be fine. Yeah, it's just kind of strangely worded and strangely laid out.
I get that, Mikey. I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, like, if you compare it to the Balor, who we've covered before, the Balor just has, like, an aura of fear that just says, if you're nearby, because it's a big, scary demon,
you're scared.
You are spooked. Oh, no, sorry. The Balor doesn't have that. The Pit Fiend has that. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Because you boys fought a Pit Fiend in the Christmas game.
Getting ahead of yourself.
I am getting ahead of myself. I apologize. Cool. So, like, there is a precedent of bad dudes having scary times. The Pit Fiend has a fear aura, but I suppose in comparison, the Pit Fiend is challenge 20, and they didn't give this to any other demons. So maybe, I don't know. But it is interesting that it's just a frightened aura on a recharge that takes place as part of the multi attack, so it always happens. So like, why isn't it just an aura passively that just says, if you start your turn within 15 feet of the Nalfeshnee, make a wisdom saving throw. If you fail, you're frightened for 1 minute.
Yeah. It is strange that they made
if
it
you
like
pass, you're immune for an hour or 24 hours.
It is strange that they kind of made it like it has the scintillating light. Like it is a specific effect. It's not like you would be just scared of this guy if you were running around. It's he lights up like a flashbang or something, or like a lighthouse, and it's even multicolored light, so it's probably kind of pleasant to look at. It's like looking at a rainbow. It's bizarre.
I would have thought it would be like kind of like crimson and like purple and like, it would evoke colors that people wouldn't like to see, like blood and wounds and like so like browns and blacks and reds and purples.
There are few who can contend with Nalfeshnee of many colors.
Oh, that was so good. I love that part of the book. Where Saruman shows up in his new robe and he's Saruman of many colors and it describes like it's a fucking rainbow robe, and you're like, yeah, you should just. I'm glad you stuck with white, Peter. Like, I don't think you could have pulled off the like the deadly Technicolor dream coat. I don't think anybody can. Like,
check out my fabulous multicolored coat.
Am I not most evil?
Yeah. All right.
Happy.
Shall we move on?
I will just say the idea of them having the ability to frighten their enemies is something they have had since Eldritch Wizardry. So maybe it's a case of they want to grandfather in the ability to do that, but they weren't sure how to do it, and this is what they decided was the best.
Okay.
Because it's been able to, since Eldritch Wizardry, it has had the ability to cause fear. It has it again in the first Monster Manual, stuff like that.
Oh, right. So it's kind of a relic, basically.
Yeah, it might be that, like, I mean, like, I do agree, with the idea, like, as Mikey said, it's weird that it's one of its actions, because previously it was just like a lot of high-powered monsters, demons could just cast spells, and they just had a list of spells they were allowed to cast, and so it was allowed to use a symbol of fear as one of its spells, which would probably be kind of similar. But now it's like a specific ability. So yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah, if you guys have any ideas of how they could have done this, then go ahead and like write into us and just school us saying, "What are you talking about, guys? This is the reason why they did that." But like we're open to hear why you think they would have used it. So, because I'm just kind of confused, to be honest with you, with that one. But other than that, it seems to be a solid stat block for a monster guy, I guess. You know, he got a couple attacks. He can teleport. Yeah,
he's chunky with that Constitution 22.
Yeah, he can fly. Probably not as interesting as a lot of the other guys we've kind of gone through, but yeah, I think he's fine. I think he seems to do his job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
Excellent. Let's just go on to the dessert place time, shall we?
Jump onto a banana boat. I'm going to play the music right there.
Good times.
Indeed. So, are we gonna white room of death this boy?
I mean, the Matrix room.
Yeah, sure.
Oh yeah, it is in the Matrix.
The patented Creature Club Matrix room. I don't think we can patent that. I'd say the Matrix people would get a bit mad at us for taking the name the Matrix.
You mean the agents?
Oh man, yeah.
The agents will come and get us.
Yes, the agents.
Mr. Anderson. I think on a one-on-one fight against a team of 4 people at level 13, this could be a relatively good slog. Like, he doesn't have any specific healing abilities, which I think would like do him well since he has the teleport ability that he could get away and like start to recover. But I think that straight up fighting, he'll knock a couple out with the initial horror nimbus, and then his magic resistance again will be helpful against the wizards and druids and stuff. And I think he'll put up a good fight, but I do think he will ultimately fall to the might of basically onslaught of whatever
being
ridiculous abilities. Yeah. Even with like basic level 13 guys without any particularly special weapons. Like it says bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks, but even at half damage, you're going to consistently deal a good chunk of damage, because I think the fighter has 3 attacks at that point. And like most of the fighter classes will have their multiple attacks that they can do. So it kind of takes the teeth out of his multi-attack as being a particularly significant thing outside of it being able to cast the Horror Nimbus again. But Horror Nimbus is probably only going to affect the people the once in this turn. Unless they are outside of the 15 feet, which means he could probably jump. He could teleport from like the front lines to the back lines and then use the Horror Nimbus again if it has recharged. But yeah, I think it could be fun.
If we're doing the Matrix room, it's probably just not going to be that interesting of a fight.
No.
A lot of this, what this guy can do, we've kind of seen already with more interesting demons. He can fly. He'll probably fly mainly, and he might be in the air and drop down, sweep down, and attack you. And if you're with your basic team of 13, your fighter will be there. Like, what the hell do I do, man?
Come on, man.
Maybe you take out a bow or something. But if you're level 13 and you're a fighter without a bow, then what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
You can afford a bow at that point. But it's just going to be kind of like a punch fest. You're gonna be trading blows. He has magical resistance, so if you throw a fireball at him, then he might be better at not getting hit by the fireball or any other kind of stuff. DC 15 wisdom saving throw or be frightened for a minute. 15 seems to be all right. I'd say most people at that level anyway can probably get past that. It doesn't seem,
even if they fail, frightened isn't a huge deal. Because they can still attack. They just have disadvantage, and that's really only until they either until they pass the saving throw or until someone else like helps them with an ability to regain their lose their frightened condition.
So the Matrix room might not be the most interesting, but that's how can we use him to make him interesting, guys?
I think the thing I feel about him fundamentally is that he doesn't necessarily do anything massively interesting or surprising on its own.
Yeah.
On its own, but it does hit pretty consistently and hit pretty hard. It has an ability that can affect everybody, which is always kind of interesting, especially the fact that it can affect its enemies. That can just mix up a battle in a really interesting way. It can teleport and it can fly, so it has a lot of mobility. And then it has and then it has little things like telepathy, which you could use to have it trashed off the party or whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like the Nalfeshnee feels like a great part of a team of bad guys.
Yeah.
Like leading a pack of demons, I think. I will mention very briefly, just because I mentioned before Judge Gabberslug. One of the things about Judge Gabberslug that's kind of fun is they have it describes how Judge Gabberslug is so lazy that he won't get involved in a battle unless his life depends on it, even if it's happening in his courtroom. He'll just sit there and let his minions fight and just kind of throw spells at people lazily and won't move from his chair until he needs to. I think that could be a really great idea. I like the idea that maybe the Nalfeshnee is on a palanquin. So four attendants are carrying a sort of one of those carts basically, and the Nalfeshnee's sitting inside it not moving, and so the fight starts and it's four of the bad guys are too busy holding the palanquin to fight, and so maybe the fight kind of starts off and it's kind of easy, and then it changes as the Nalfeshnee gets involved.
Or he'll be in his palanquin and he'll have four Hezros, and then after you've sliced through all the rest of his little guys, he sends these Hezros after you, who are challenge rating 8. So if there's four of them, that's going to be a real tough fight, I think. But yeah, I definitely agree that he would probably be best used at the top of a kind of manipulating ring of these demonic people. I think the Marilith is a really good tactical figure. I think the Nalfeshnee is a really good kind of boss figure.
Yeah,
he's the kind of
just
the baron
sort
of the oil company, essentially. Just
the classic,
sitting atop his throne.
The classic line that you love, Mikey, of yes, kill them.
Yeah.
Kill them.
Kill them.
That's such a fucking good line. I love that so much.
Yeah. That's Revenge of the Sith. Revenge of the Sith, not Return of the Sith.
Return of the Revenge of the Sith.
Revenge of the Return of the Revenge.
Is that the new Planet of the Apes movie?
Yeah.
Return of the Revenge of the Dawn of the Planet of the oh boy,
help
the war.
Help me.
In terms of kind of that encounter idea we've suggested with just a bit more detail, I feel like a really good fit would actually be having the Nalfeshnee in a palanquin or atop a big shield with a Balgura or Barlgura. Sorry, I always say that wrong. With a Barlgura holding up the shield. Yeah. They are both large creatures, but the Barlgura is more physically intimidating. It actually has a lower strength score, but I just feel like that feels correct. And also, the Barlgura has a lower challenge, so it makes sense that it's lower in the hierarchy, lower in the pecking order.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about it is that it's low enough in the pecking order that it isn't a big deal it isn't as big a deal in the fight as other things would be. Because it's challenge rating 5 and only has just under 70 hit points. The party could probably cut it down with one or two good committed attacks. But at the same time, it is a factor in the battle. So I like the idea of the Nalfeshnee sitting on a palanquin or something, being held up by a Barlgura or maybe two Barlguras, depending on how high level this fight is. The only question then is what you use as foot soldiers, because you can either use dretches or mains, and both of them are kind of shite, but you could just have a lot of them.
Well, there are later on in the book we have the Quasits and the Vrox, who are also quite low challenge rating. Even the Shadow Demons are pretty low, but I think they tend to be kind of solo movers.
Yeah, you could do them, but the Quasit's tiny, and has
little ankle
7 hit
slicers.
points. I mean, but it has 7 hit points. The party just do one fireball, and it's all of the Quasits are dead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or even a couple of magic missiles, and they're gone. So I'm not sure exactly. I really feel like the demons need like a challenge 3 demon.
Yeah, like a consistent, like tough boy. Like I think the Hezro is good for something like that, but he's a bit too chunky. And then the Barogura is also like he has his own place amongst it all. So
Just get
I think
just go check my Volo's guide. I remember there was a couple of
I was just
demons in
thinking
there.
that. Yeah.
And I think that they weren't too bad when it comes to CR. Let me just doop. Challenge 8, challenge 1, challenge 4. Yeah, we got a couple of like medium level
I've got
demons in here.
The 3 challenge 3 monsters that I have listed here are the bearded devil, who we will get to obviously when we get to devils.
Yeah.
But more usefully, which actually we might use for this, the nightmare and the hellhound.
Yeah.
So you could scratch the idea of a palanquin and just have a chariot being pulled by nightmares, or like a not a chariot, a carriage is more befitting Nalfeshnee. So that could be cool because they are nightmares aren't specifically abyssal or infernal; they're just fiends, so they can exist in either. And then, as well as that, the Hellhound is the same. The Hellhound doesn't specify. Hellhound is, in fairness, lawful, but you can kind of just... I think you can ignore that.
Yeah, it's a hound.
It's a dog.
You could even go for like a kind of a Cerberus kind of thing, like a 3-headed big doggo, big scary doggo.
Yeah.
Just bump them up to maybe a slightly higher CR. Just give them a little bit of an overhaul. Make them kind of chunkier. Make them a bigger fight. I think that would be
true
another
enough,
way to do it.
Yeah. So I feel like the Nalfeshnee is a bit better. His strengths kind of lie of him being, as you were saying, Tim, and I think you said at one point as well, Dan, that he's a good boss guy. Like he's a good kind of, he's kind of he could be like an iconic, just like, he wouldn't really get much into a fight, but he's kind of the leader of this small little faction of demons or whatever you're fighting against. And when you beat him, but you just have to kind of make him interesting in his like kind of personality and like get your players to wanna, that guy, he's bad and stupid and I don't like him. And if you kind of role play him in kind of like a fun way and make him into like a typical mustache twiddling villain and like a guy you want to fight, then your players remember him. But because I feel like you gotta kind of do it that way because he's just not a very interesting fight.
On that thought, it might be cool to reference his description again, and maybe one of the people that he has stolen from for his snack pile, basically, could be someone of relative importance to at least one or two of the characters, so that you have to go on this rescue mission to the Abyss and not necessarily challenge the Nalfeshnee there. Like maybe at a low level when you have only slightly established a bit of the backstory, and then you'll have a more whole feel of your character's attachments to whatever you have built into your backstory. Because if the Nalfeshnee steals them, and then they're going to eat them, you're going to want to save them.
I got an idea. Dungeon.
Okay.
In the Abyss.
I'm there.
In the Abyss. You're probably going to be a little bit more... a bit of a kind of stretch your imaginations when it comes to the Abyss here, but imagine... You got a bunch, like a town was taken by this Nalfeshnee.
I'm already scared.
And he brings him back to the Abyss, or wherever his hideout is, can be in the material plane as well. And then you have to fight your way through because this Nalfeshnee wants to have like a demon dinner party, but you have to get in there, go through like the kitchen or the storeroom, and fight and open up the cages, get all your buds out. And then you go into the kitchen, beat up like the demon chef or something in like a kitchen scene. And then like there's this I don't know, like a Balgura who has like a chef hat on or something, and he has to smack you around with a spatula.
What are you doing in my kitchen?
Get out of my kitchen.
And then you beat him up, and then you have to run down the hall and you fight the Nalfeshnee in a like kind of like a big demonic dining room where he's ready to eat these people. And then you're like, nope, we just got rid of them all, so time to fight you. And then you beat him up, and then him and his like entourage. I can feel like that'll be a good one shot, but you have to be like a higher level one shot.
With something like that, he might be a handy little like interstitial kind of go-to bad guy for in-betweeny parts. Like if you have an idea of a couple arcs, having an Nalfeshnee be this constant harassment to your players might be cool. Like if they get them at a low level, they go in and get out as quickly as they can without being spotted. If it happens again, they steal someone else, like from a different city or from a relatively high up position, then you have to go save them, kill a bunch of them, but then the Nalfeshnee like runs away or something, and then later on at the higher levels, level 13, 14 upwards, you can actually challenge the Nalfeshnee himself. So he could be this reoccurring bad guy, but he could also be like in the background for most of whatever story you want to be telling.
Yeah, that's cool too.
Thanks.
You could make it super direct. Like this would make it maybe a little more predictable or more gamey, perhaps more like a traditional fantasy story. But what you could do is you could have it start with like a mass kidnapping of, you know, the hometown of your adventuring party, and then they learn through some means that like they were kidnapped by an Nalfeshnee. There's a feast, and they are given like basically. I'm actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I kind of like the idea that we maybe like steal a little bit from like things like Dead Rising or Majora's Mask, and basically say like the Nalfeshnee is going to have the feast on this day because of some reason specific to them, and you have until then to stop them. Like you can guarantee that they're going to be safe up until that point, or at least they won't be eaten by the Nalfeshnee. Obviously, the abyss is a dangerous place. Yeah, but then it's like, you know, you can obviously go out and like just kind of beat up boars until you level up, or you can be like, all right, let's recruit like a unicorn to help us kill this Nalfeshnee, or let's make dark pacts with the devils because we need the power boost or whatever. And it's just a question of like how you get powerful enough to actually like kick in the door in time to save your family, and then like what you are by that point.
That's very
cool. Are you the same men that watched your friends being kidnapped?
We
and
are
then
strong.
Bilbo.
Bilbo. And at the end of it all, if your family gets eaten, then just game over. Start again.
Yep.
Do it again.
Start again.
Instant game over and start again.
Yep.
I mean, you missed that secret unlockable at level 2, so you might as well start again anyway.
Yeah,
it's
or
perfect run,
you won't
so.
get the special skin where you get to be a Nalfeshnee.
yeah, and when you beat him, new game plus. Just
Hey.
play again, but you have all your abilities. But no, in all serious note, that's a very cool way of doing it too, Dan. That's actually kind of, I like that. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. So, anything else, guys? Anything else we can talk about? Any final thoughts? Any thoughts that we
Monster
have?
Hunter room? Do you think?
Well, what can we do with them? Do you guys have any ideas?
Well, he has big scary wings, and he
Big
has
wings, yeah.
teleportability. Might be a nice one.
Yeah, his teleportability. He has a very high natural armor despite having no dex mod.
Yeah.
His natural armor is equivalent to plate mail, so maybe you can turn his hide into a sort of like demon skin plate or something like that.
Maybe like a medium armor, but it's like it's hide, but it's like super hide or something where it's 18.
Yeah,
and
that's a good idea.
it's kind of medium armor, but you don't have, or it's like plate, but you don't have dex badness. I don't know, something like that.
It's dex badness, yeah.
Dex badness.
Plus 7. it's just plus 7 leather armor.
That would be OP.
But just because it feels like a good time to mention it, not specifically for the Nalfeshnee, but that idea of the demon cook that you have to fight. We like the idea that it has a signature weapon, which is a butcher's cleaver that's always on fire, so that it cooks the meat as it cuts it, and then it's a flaming greatsword when the party take it.
Yes.
Yeah. Because
That's very cool.
it doesn't give him any weapons here, but
Nope.
I think apart from his rusty knives and forks in the description, which, you know, maybe they're worth something. Maybe he has a favorite one or something.
I mean, yeah, in fairness, like a rusty knife for a large creature would be like a short sword for a medium creature.
Yeah. Fair enough. You raid his cutlery drawer and you get some nice, interesting bits and bobs.
You're like, hey, what are you doing? Get out of there.
Get out of my cutlery.
Still the silverware. Can't believe this.
I can't believe you.
Did he get my favorite knife? Oh, for goodness sake. That's
For
my
goodness sake,
favorite
come on.
steak knife.
What are you doing? Stop. I'm
going
going to eat you now.
Get back here. Why are you running away?
I'm going to eat you now. I'm a chef. I'm a demon chef. Okay, that's cool. That is very cool. Maybe the wings. You can kind of, as you said, use the wings, but maybe they can also give you like a teleport, like daily action in there too, or with some charges. Maybe you can use the wings like Batman gliders.
Ooh, nice. So you get Featherfall with them or something.
That'd be cool.
There's also the horror nimbus. I think you could use its kind of like brain pan as a helmet that lets you gain its telepathy feature, and also like once a day lets you horrible nimbus.
Yeah, that's cool.
But you just have to be standing away from your friends, because his one didn't make a difference between friend or foe. So neither should yours.
You could also, instead of making it an area, you could make it, just to make it possible to use with your friends around, you could
make a kind of magical lens.
I was just going to say you could use it as a cone instead.
Ah, nice. That makes it much more usable.
Yeah, that's really it. That's all I got anyway.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how we went.
I think so too.
You got a lot of stuff there. Mm-hmm. That's an episode of Creature Club. Yeah. Shall we wrap it up?
Let's do.
Thank you for listening to Creature Club, everybody. It's been great having you once again. Thank you for deciding to use your podcast listening time to listen to us. And if you have gotten to the end of this episode, then smash that like button, if there is one there. Absolutely destroy it. If we can get this up to 10,000 likes, then yes.
I would be very surprised.
Yeah, no, we're not.
Smash that review button, and then smash every single key on your keyboard so that you leave us a nice review.
If you agree, then like that. Cool. But yes, no, obviously, if you want to leave us a review on iTunes, wherever you're listening to this, then that helps us out. That's very nice of you. Give it a go. If you liked this episode and it's your first time listening, thank you very much. And consider subscribing to us on whatever podcast app you use. We are on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, all the places you'll find it. So if you prefer using one of those, then give them a go, guys. Give them a go. We also have a website called creatureclubpodcast.com where you can listen to our episodes, download our episodes, and leave a comment and contact us. We're always looking for homebrew monsters for our homebrew special, and homebrew monsters, spells, classes, whatever you got, whatever you want to send it to us. And if you just want to say hello, say that too. We are planning to do a homebrew special very, very soon. I know we always say that, but I'm sure it's going to come up very soon.
We've had a lot of stuff on our plate with you moving and everything, so I don't think we wanted to like stack more stress on top of that.
Exactly, yeah. So I was moving, and I'm in the process of trying to get settled in a new area. So, but I think I'll be able to do it soon. So, be able to. What else do I got? Yeah, and if you rather use an email address to send on stuff, we have creatureclubpodcast@gmail.com, creatureclubpodcast@gmail.com. To maybe some of you people prefer hearing it that way. And yeah, we have a Twitter, Creature Club Pod, @Creature Club Pod on Twitter. So give us a follow and say hey. Let us know you're there. That'll be great. And that's really it. Any more bits I forgot to mention, guys?
I think you did a pretty dang good job.
I think you did a great job. We will probably post the Nalfeshnee picture up on the Twitter when we post this episode.
Yep.
And as well as that, just I know you mentioned it, Mikey, in passing, but yeah, we got a bit of a spike in our listenership. So if you are one of our new listeners, welcome. If you're one of our old listeners, welcome.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for spending your time with us, and thanks for putting up with my dumb jokes and my being an automaton this episode.
Yes, thank you for putting up with Tim.
I thought he was Mr. Tim. I'm still
Mr. Tim.
Mr. Tim. Hello, I'm Mr. Tim.
Hello,
I'm Mr. Snrub.
Well, thank you for joining us this episode, Mr. Tim. It was great to have you.
It's been a pleasure.
I can't do it, man. I'm sorry. I can't.
Goodness, Burns, what's your first name?
I don't know. It's not the first time we've quoted that moment
I
on a
love
Creature Club
that so
episode.
much. An older boy made me do it, sir.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you for listening, everybody. Join us next week for another episode of something. I have been Mikey.
I have been Tim.
And I've been Dan.
Stay cool.
Nice fry at the end there, boss. Bit of a fry, bit of a breakfast fry.
Break the fry.